I wish people really understood how important the decision that the Supreme Court ruling is. What it said essentially is that we are a race blind country.
This is the 411 with Jessica Washington. Today we're on with Randi Bryant, DEI disruptor, speaker, and consultant, to talk about the attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Tell us about the history of diversity, equity, and inclusion, affirmative action. Like, how did we get these kinds of terms and concepts?
DEI came to be really when there was a need for us, if we're honest. Truman signed an act to allow the armed forces to become desegregated because they needed bodies to fight. And then it continued with the civil rights movement, other marginalized groups, like people with disabilities, women have come along and, of course, benefited from what has been a movement for Black people.
And I also want to now get into the history of kind of the modern resistance to DEI. Where did that emerge?
There's always been a resistance to DEI because what diversity, equity, and inclusion says is let's include others. Let's even this playing field. The resistance has become ever more popular when, honestly, our former President Trump came into office, and you started hearing the term of the use woke, when people started saying, I am aware, because all woke means is I'm aware of what's happening. I'm aware of that people live differently, aren't given fair chances. I'm aware of that situation. And to be quite frank with you, it works for a lot of politicians or people in power for others not to be aware of the atrocities. It works for people to keep us numb of what's happening or ignorant about what is happening in our country.
What's something that hasn't been as much in the news cycle, or that we haven't been talking about as much, that you really see as an attack on DEI that people should be paying attention to?
I wish people really understood how important the decision that the Supreme Court ruling is. It was what it said essentially is that we are a race blind country. We do not have issues with race. And so if you create any program where race is considered when making a decision about who to give a contract or who to give a placement in a school or a neighborhood or money, etc., it is illegal for you to do that. So when they say that, that means it has affected. Right now, they're going against 8A programs in the government. So for businesses, it's saying things like the Fearless Fund cannot exist because why would we have money set aside for Black women businesses if there's not a problem? Now, we know that less than 1% of venture capital's money is given to Black, Hispanic, women-owned businesses. But what they're saying is that's not a problem. There is no issue. When you go for contracts, let's say you own a company and you're going for a contract, before they would set aside to ensure that Black companies were given a fair chance, because realize they weren't getting a fair chance. Now the numbers don't state that. That is absolutely false when you look at numbers across the board, but that's what the Supreme Court has decided.
What are the stakes here?
I don't want to be dramatic, but our ability to thrive in this country, our ability for our children and our children's children to thrive in the United States. What they took was just like if you would say that people are here and they just gave us a little step just to help us reach our goals, and now they've taken that away, right? They've taken that away, and we have to find a rope. We have to find something to climb and fight our way back. And this is in every arena of our lives. So it is important that we pay attention to the decision, but the fallout from the decision, and that we recognize that we must depend on ourselves. We really must, because again, no one else is going to save us.